Hola chicos y bienvenidos a mi video hablando del pretérito perfecto. Welcome to this video. It's talking about the pretérito perfecto. In English we would call it the present perfect. It's the first time we are looking at a concept called the perfect. It's a kind of unique way of discussing the past tense. And why are we going over it now? We're going over it for a variety of reasons, obviously because it's incredibly useful. And it's placed at this point in our year because we've just learned how to use participles, participios, right? So anytime that we're dealing with any perfect tense, again, I said before that it always has to do with the past. That's not true, but in this case it does. It can be in the future, it can be involved with the subjunctive. It has a variety of different ways it can be used within the context of Spanish. But overall, it involves a certain formula, and this is the formula. Okay. First thing that we do is we always take the verb haber. Okay. Haber means to have, not to have like tener, right? But it means to have like in terms of experience, right? I have been to Hawaii. I have seen the Grand Canyon, lo que sea, right? And what you do is you take haber, to have, and you couple it with the participio, right? Remember we just went over participios, which are the ed forms of verbs, basically past participles. So like play goes to played, right? Write goes to written, right? And so what you're basically saying is have whatever the verb is, right? So have played, have written. He has eaten. You have seen, right? To have done. That's the idea, right? This can take the place in a lot of cases of el pretérito, right? Instead of saying, did you see the movie? My question with using the perfect would be, have you seen the movie? Okay, so let's go over the two partes de esta fórmula, haber y los participios. So let's start with haber. Okay, so first thing right off the bat, I want to make sure that everyone remembers when speaking, when using this, there's no H sound. Okay, it's not haber, it's haber. Okay, so that goes for the pronunciation of these conjugations. This is the present tense of haber. Again, haber, it means to have, not like tener, but to have as in experience to have, like I have taken Spanish, right? And this is how it conjugates. Not he, not has, it's has, a, hemos, habéis, han. Okay? Has, a, hemos, habéis, han. So again, what we're doing is we're taking these, right? I have, you have, he, she, it has, we have, you all in Spain have, ellos, ellas, ustedes han, right? And we're combining them. Again, think of the formula here. A form of haber with a participle gives you have. It doesn't have to be done, but whatever verb, okay, you're using, whatever participle you're using, okay? So the second part of this formula, again, is the participio, right? Look at these. We should know these by now, okay? So AR is hado, ido, right? AR participles is we take a verb like hablar and we make it hablado, right? With ER verbs, we take a verb like vivir and we make them vivido. Other examples, hablado, caminado. What's another AR verb? We could say volado, okay? Then, ERIR, like we just said, vivido, we could have corrido, we could have, let's say, barrido, okay? These are all verbs that are, again, transformed into their participle form. Now, we have irregulars. These are important. Rev, Mac, PhD. That's a good way to remember these, okay? roto, escrito, vuelto, visto, muerto, abierto, cubierto, puesto, hecho, dicho, right? Rev Mac PhD, okay? And an important thing to remember is that a lot of these can be used with like describir, for example. It has, look, it has escribir in it already. So all we're doing is we're adding the D and we're getting descrito. Same thing with volver, right? Let's say we have devolver, and look, it's already there. So it is devuelto, okay? Now, keep these in mind because they're important when we're dealing with the perfect tense. We're basically, again, taking haber, to have done something. So, he roto, for example, if I have that, I know this is the yo form. Yo he roto, I have broken, okay? Now, how do we use these? It's a good question. These are great kind of setups for the present perfect. We have hoy, which you should all know means today. Alguna vez, ever, a few times. Todavía, aún, still. Todavía no, still not. Ya, already. Hasta ahora, until now. These are great kind of ways that we would use the pretérito perfecto, right? Today I have, let's see, I have read about 20 pages of the book I'm currently reading, right? Alguna vez, right? Ever. So have you ever been to a concert? Todavía, still, right? These are all great uses, okay? So here we have some examples, okay? Let's say I want to use hoy, right? I say this, hoy he comido 3 veces, right? And what I did is I highlighted these because again, we know that a is the yo form, okay, of haber. Again, back to the formula, haber plus participio, to have done, okay? So hoy, today I have eaten 3 times. Hoy he comido 3 veces, okay? Alguna vez, ever, a few times, right? I could ask something like this. ¿Alguna vez has probado flan? Have you ever tried flan? Probar means to try like food, okay? ¿Has probado? Have you ever tried? Okay, ¿alguna vez? Still not. Todavía no he visto la película Frozen, right? I still have not seen la película Frozen, okay? Then already. Ya hemos hablado del subjuntivo. Ya means already. We've already spoken. We've already talked about the subjunctive. Then hasta ahora. Until now, right? You haven't understood the present perfect. That makes sense because we haven't gone over it. But look, hasta ahora no habéis entendido el pretérito perfecto. Now, if you wanted to go in and add the subjects, you could. Yo, right? Hoy yo he comido alguna vez. Tú. You could put tú there, or you could put it after. You could really put has probado tú. Okay? It's also a possibility. Todavía no. Again, this is the yo form again. Hemos. Could be nosotros. And then here, vosotros. Okay? If you want to keep that there, it's perfectly fine. Okay? So one thing I just kind of want to make clear is that this is a very simple concept. Okay, it's a very simple concept. But one thing we can look at is how in España, okay, this is just a little kind of bonus thing versus, let's say, Latino America. In España, let's start there, they would more likely use the, let's say, pretérito perfecto in conversation where we might use, in Latin American Spanish speakers might use the preterite, right? So this is something I always, and it looks a lot kind of like what they would do in England, perhaps, in Great Britain. So in España, again, I'll make it more clear, in España, they might say something like this. You're walking down the street and you see Mr. Siegel, you say, estaba, or just simply this, estuve en la calle y he visto a Señor Siegel, right? I have just seen him, basically, right? Did you see him? we might say here in the United States, in Latinoamérica también, but they say in Spain more likely, ¿has visto? Right? Have you seen him? Yes, I've just seen him. Whereas in Latinoamérica, right, just like we do in the United States, Latinoamérica, they would be more likely, in my opinion, and again, this is not data driven, it's just something that I've seen, right? They would say more of this. ¿Viste? Right? Did you see him? Okay. And you would say, sí, vi, right? Señor Siegel. So that's just, again, a little kind of nuance that you can think about, okay? But to review, pretérito perfecto always involves this formula, haber, to have done something, plus participle. So, he, has, ha, hemos, habéis, han. Then we have the participios. Again, we're combining this with this. Simple. Combining this with this, right? To have done something, and then the uses are as follows. We have things like today, ever, a few times. Like in English, we would use have you done, like have you ever seen this, or we already have done this, okay? And these are some examples, okay? So take a look at these, keep them in mind, y hablamos en la clase, pues mañana en clase. Muchas gracias y nos vemos. Adiós.